10 days.
Mhm.
In the world of missing persons, 10 days isn't just a unit of time.
Yeah.
It's an eternity. It's usually the point where a rescue mission quietly becomes a recovery operation.
Right.
And for 10 days, the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's 84-year-old mother, was just a black hole. Silence, speculation, nothing to go on.
And then the dam broke. I mean, it didn't just leak, it shattered.
Exactly. We are looking at a 24-hour window, basically yesterday, February 10th, through the early hours of this morning, the 11th, that has completely changed the entire narrative of this case. We went from having, zero actionable intelligence to having almost too much to process in real time.
It's a textbook example of a nonlinear investigation.
Yeah.
You spend a week and a half gathering what looks like static, and then suddenly 3 or 4 different tracks just collide at the exact same moment.
So here's our mission for this deep dive. If you've seen the headlines, you know the basics. Suspect detained, video released. We aren't here to just read those back to you. We're going to try and connect 3 very distinct, very chaotic threads. A digital ghost in the cloud, a physical manhunt on the Mexican border, and a crypto financial mystery that honestly makes no sense on the surface.
And we're pulling this from a whole stack of fresh reports, FBI press releases, some on-the-ground sourcing from CNN and NBC in Rio Rico, Arizona, and some really specific financial reporting from TMZ on the ransom demands.
Let's start with the atmosphere, because before this break, the tension was just unbearable. But looking at the timeline now, this acceleration almost feels orchestrated. Or am I giving investigators too much credit?
It's actually usually the opposite. It's what we call the cascade effect. You have digital forensics teams working in a silo over here, patrol units working the streets over there, and financial analysts watching the blockchain. They're all working independently until one domino falls, and when it does, they all intersect. That's exactly what happened yesterday.
Okay, so let's talk about that first domino, the video. Because for 10 days, we were told there were no leads. Then, 1:03 p.m. Tuesday, the FBI drops footage that is, frankly, terrifying.
It is. And we need to be really precise about what we're seeing. This isn't some grainy shot of a figure 3 blocks away.
No.
This is a doorbell camera right at Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson. The timestamp is from the early morning of Sunday, February 1st.
Which puts us right at the moment of abduction. She missed church that morning. That was the first red flag for the family.
Exactly. The video shows a masked individual wearing gloves and a backpack, and this is crucial armed with a firearm, but it's the behavior that the profilers are going to be all over.
He walks right up to the camera. That's the part that stuck with me. If you're a criminal in 2026, you know what a doorbell camera is. You know it records. Why walk right up to it?
It suggests one of 2 things, either arrogance or a real lack of sophistication about cloud storage. He comes face-to-face with the lens and he tampers with it.
He thinks if he breaks the device, the evidence is gone.
He likely assumed that, yeah.
Which brings us to the technical side of this, and this is what I found so fascinating. The SBI director, Kash Patel, he didn't just say, "We found the video." He used this really specific phrase. He said they recovered residual data located in back-end systems.
Right, and for anyone listening who cares about digital privacy or security, this is a huge insight. This footage wasn't just sitting in the user's app. It had probably been deleted, or the device was disconnected in a way that severed that user-facing link.
So for 10 days, investigators could have been looking at that account and seeing nothing.
Essentially, yes. They were flying blind on that angle. And this is the key takeaway here. In the cloud architecture of companies like Google, who owns this tech, delete is often just a command for the user interface.
It just hides it from you.
It removes the file from your view. It doesn't necessarily wipe the magnetic or solid-state storage on the server right away.
So the data just persists.
It persists. In cache files and backup redundancies, what they sometimes call ghost data on the server, the FBI had to issue warrants directly to the tech provider to have their engineers go into the back-end architecture, the digital graveyard, so to speak, and exhume this footage.
And that explains the 10-day lag. It wasn't that they didn't have the camera, it's that they had to legally and technically compel the resurrection of the data.
Precisely. It's a whole process. You need one court order for the user data, but you need a much higher level order to force a tech giant to dig through their own proprietary backups. That takes lawyers, it takes engineers, and it takes time.
It's a chilling thought, though, isn't it? We usually worry that our data is never private. In this case, thank God it wasn't.
It's the double-edged sword of the surveillance state. The same mechanism people fear, the permanence of data, is the only reason we have a potential face for this suspect today.
Okay, so Tuesday afternoon, the digital ghost becomes real. The public sees the mask, the gun, the gray SUV. Just 8 hours later, the scene shifts 60 miles south.
To Rio Rico, Arizona. And we really need to talk about this geography because it is not an accident.
I looked it up. Rio Rico is basically a stopover on Interstate 19, right?
It's the funnel.
Yeah.
If you are driving south from Tucson to the Mexican border, Rio Rico is the last real community before you hit Nogales and the port of entry. It's about 10 miles from the international line.
So if you're trying to run,
That's where you're vulnerable. You're squeezing into a choke point. You've got checkpoints, cameras, a high density of border patrol.
so at 9:40 p.m. on Tuesday, Pima County sheriffs stop a gray SUV. Now, the media just ran with this suspect caught. But that's not what the police said.
No, and the legal distinction here is vital. They detained a subject for questioning. They did not arrest him for kidnapping. They didn't charge him.
They just have reasonable suspicion.
Likely, based on the vehicle description from that video they just recovered, it's enough to pull him over.
But they didn't find Nancy in the car.
No. If they had, the headlines would be Nancy found. Instead, the headline is search warrant executed.
Right, so the action moves from the traffic stop to a house around 11:15 p.m. This is where the CNN reporting gets incredible. They've got a team on the ground watching the FBI and the evidence response team just swarm this house near the highway.
And they cordon off the whole street. This isn't a knock and talk. It's a raid. They are looking for something specific.
And then CNN talks to a woman outside who claims to be the homeowner, and she drops this one specific detail that completely changes how I view this suspect.
The son-in-law comment?
Yeah. She says the guy they're questioning is her son-in-law, Carlos. And what does Carlos do for a living? He's a delivery driver in Tucson.
A delivery driver. Think about it. If you are building a profile of a suspect who can stake out a house, walk up to a porch, and then vanish without anyone calling 911, what's the perfect camouflage?
A delivery vest. We're all conditioned to just ignore them. They're part of the background noise of every suburb.
Exactly. It's what psychologists call inattentional blindness. A man in a mask walking up your neighbor's driveway is suspicious. A man in a mask holding a package is just Tuesday.
It gives you a reason to be there.
It allows for loitering, for casing a property, and it allows for a quick exit without raising a single alarm.
But hold on. I want to push back on that a little. Just because he drives a gray SUV and delivers packages doesn't automatically make him a kidnapper.
No, you're absolutely right to be skeptical.
I mean, it makes him a guy who fits a very, very broad description.
It does, and that's why he hasn't been charged yet. Gray SUVs are one of the most common vehicles in America. Being a delivery driver is a common job. It is entirely possible this Carlos is just a guy who was in the wrong place at the wrong time, driving the wrong car.
But the raid on the house, that suggests they're looking for more, for something specific.
They're looking for a link. Biological evidence, DNA, hair, fibers, or digital evidence phones, laptops. They have to link Carlos to Nancy Guthrie, not just Carlos, to a gray SUV.
The proximity to the border is what terrifies me, though. If he was 10 miles from Mexico, was he on his way out? Or on his way back?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? If this was a handover, if Nancy was moved across the border days ago, Rio Rico might just be where the logistics guy lives, the driver, the coyote.
Which implies a network. This isn't a lone wolf.
And that segues perfectly into the third prong of this whole mess, the money. Because lone wolves usually don't have complex Bitcoin ransom schemes active 10 days into it.
This is the part that makes my head spin. We have reports from TMZ, from Harvey 11, who is surprisingly on the ball with this stuff about ransom notes.
Right. So initially, letters were sent to media outlets like KOLD News 13. They demanded money, gave deadlines. Thursday, February 5th, Monday the 9th.
But the FBI special agent in charge, Heath Janke, he came out and pretty much said, ignore these, there's no proof of life.
Which is standard procedure. If a kidnapper doesn't give you a photo of the victim holding today's newspaper or a voice recording, you have to assume it's a hoax.
Just the scammer trying to cash in on the news.
Exactly. Someone trying to make a quick buck.
But now, TMZ is reporting that the Bitcoin wallet that was in those notes is suddenly active.
And that completely revives the credibility of the threat.
Okay, explain that to me. Because if I'm a scammer, can I just move Bitcoin around to look busy?
You can, but why would you? If you're a scammer, you want money in. You don't usually move money around unless you're trying to launder it or consolidate it. Activity on the blockchain, which is public, you have to remember, it signals that someone has the private keys to that wallet and is actively engaging with the network.
So, does this mean the kidnapper is panicking? The video drops at 1:30 p.m. The traffic stop is at 9:40 p.m. When does the money start to move?
The timing is still a little murky, but the correlation is deeply suspicious. If Carlos gets pulled over and then suddenly the wallet activates, it could be a signal to a partner.
Darn it. Move the funds.
Right, or it could be the kidnapper just seeing the news and thinking, they're getting close, I need to cash out now.
But isn't Bitcoin traceable? I thought the whole crypto's anonymous thing was basically a myth by now.
It is a myth. It's pseudonymous, we can see the wallet address, we can see the transaction string, we just don't know who owns it. However, the moment that money touches a regulated exchange like a Coinbase or a Binance, to be turned into dollars or pesos, the FBI will know. They have triggers set up on all those exchanges.
So the kidnapper is caught in a digital trap. They have the potential money, but they can't actually spend it without revealing who they are.
Unless they're very, very good at using things like mixers or tumblers to wash the crypto. But that takes time and it takes skill. And in a panic situation, people make mistakes, they get sloppy.
This brings up a really difficult dynamic. On one side, you have the FBI analyzing blockchain and dirt on SUVs, and on the other, you have Savannah Guthrie and her family.
The human element.
And it feels like there are two completely different strategies happening at the same time. The FBI is saying, no proof of life, don't believe the notes, everyone stay quiet. And Savannah's on social media posting these videos crying, saying, we will pay.
It's a divergence of interests. You see this in all high-profile kidnappings. The law enforcement objective is apprehend the criminal, secure justice, and recover the victim, usually in that order of priority.
And the family's objective
is just get mom back. They don't care if the guy gets away with the money as long as Nancy walks through the door.
Savannah posted a specific message saying the family believes Nancy is still alive. She's essentially overruling the FBI's public skepticism.
She's trying to speak directly to the kidnapper. By saying, we believe she's alive, she's offering them a way out. She's saying, she's still valuable to you. Don't hurt her. We are still buyers for this product.
That's a brutal way to put it.
Kidnapping is a transaction. It's a business deal. Savannah is trying to keep the negotiations open while the FBI is trying to shut them down to squeeze the suspect.
We've learned a bit more about Nancy, too. She's 84, dropped off at home January 31st, watches church services online. Her pastor, a guy named Michael Rodzina, gave a quote that I found really moving. He said the family is using prayer to introduce new possibilities.
That's a powerful way to frame it. When the facts, the probabilities are grim, you have to rely on possibilities. The FBI deals in what is likely. The family deals in what is possible. And right now, it is possible that Nancy's being held in a safe house near the border, waiting for a ransom that the family is desperate to pay.
But the Carlos arrest, or detention, I should say, it complicates that. If they have a guy, but they don't have Nancy, and they don't have the rest of the crew,
then you are in the most dangerous phase, the gap. If the kidnapper knows his partner has been caught, does he cut his losses? Does he panic?
It's the prisoner's dilemma, but in real life.
Exactly. And that's why the silence from the authorities today is likely deafening. They are probably in a room with Carlos right now trying to flip him before the rest of the network even realizes he's gone.
It makes you realize how much we just don't know about what happens behind the scenes. We see the flashing lights on the news, but the real work is happening in an interrogation room or a server farm somewhere.
That's right. And remember, the FBI doesn't leak unless they want to. The release of that video was a strategic move. They knew it would force the suspect to move.
And he did.
He moved right into a traffic stop.
So let's pull all this together. If you're just tuning in, this isn't just woman missing. This is a collision of three different worlds.
World one, the digital. The recovered video from the back end of the cloud that gave us a face and a car.
World two, the physical. The dragnet closing around Rio Rico, the gray SUV, and the delivery driver theory.
And world three, the financial. The active Bitcoin wallet that proves someone is still pulling the strings, even as the police close in.
It's amazing how fast it all moved. 10 days of absolute nothing, and then 12 hours of chaos.
That's modern investigation. It's exponential. It's not linear. You wait for the data to process, you wait for the tip, and when it hits, it all hits at once.
It makes me think about the idea of a perfect crime in 2026. You have cameras you can't fully delete. You have money you can't fully hide. You have cars that are constantly tracked by license plate readers.
We leave a wake of data, whether we want to or not.
So here's the question I want to leave you with. We saw the suspect in the video try to tamper with the camera. He thought he was being smart, but the cloud was smarter. We see them using Bitcoin. They think they're anonymous, but the blockchain is forever.
Technology promises anonymity, but what it actually guarantees is a trail.
Is it even possible to vanish anymore? Or does every criminal act now just come with a digital receipt that takes 10 days to process? And more importantly, does that receipt actually lead us to the truth, or just to a guy named Carlos in a gray SUV?
We have the data. We still don't have Nancy. And right now, that's the only metric that matters.
We'll be watching the wires for updates on the search in Rio Rico. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.
Thank you.
Stay safe out there.